With Resident Evil being prevalent for so many years, it's quite difficult at times to follow the many characters that have come and gone, with each having some type of impact in the series, whether there be a hero or a villain. But in the late 1990s, a character who alongside with Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 2 made her debut, making an impact in the series has been long-standing for us RE fans. So without any further ado, let's talk about Claire Redfield.
Move!
Not bad.
I never thought any of this stuff my brother taught me would work.
The younger sister of the series icon Chris Redfield, who like her brother would make several appearances throughout this franchise, paving her own way in combating bioterrorism around the globe, which her journey begins prior to the events in Resident Evil 2, with her current background stems from the loss of her parents early on in her life, leaving Chris to take care of his younger sister, building that bond that they would have for years to come. Also growing alongside Chris, Claire would be taught some combat skill from her older brother, which may be in due part to his military background and his close association with those in the same field, which in particular would be the Burtons, specifically Barry Burton, who like Chris is very combat versed and would be a close friend of the Redfield siblings, leading both men to be part of the Raccoon City Police Department's STARS team, a small elite group of individuals who will be tasked to handle any complicated task for the RPD station, with this exact detail being an important role for Claire's debut in RE2, because prior to the events in the Raccoon City incident, Claire would not hear from Chris for a long while, prompting Claire to investigate the whereabouts of her brother, which at this time, Claire being a college student would make her way to Raccoon City, who like Leon had no idea what was going on, unaware that the T-virus outbreak has been in full effect, and her search for her brother would be made difficult due to this matter. So at the beginning of Resident Evil 2, we find Claire making her way to Raccoon City, finding out the hard way that the area was infested with zombies and monsters.
Hello? Look, I'm sorry I bothered you, okay? Just don't come any closer. Are you listening?
Eventually leading her to bump into Leon Kennedy, with both making their way to the Raccoon City Police Department, which would be the perfect start for Claire to search for her brother, but also a way to escape from all the zombies that plague the city.
We can't stay out here. Head to the police station. It'll be a lot safer.
This of course would all be for naught, because shortly after arriving at the RPD station, Claire would be informed that Chris is nowhere to be found in the vicinity, and that he has continued his fight against the Umbrella Corporation in Europe.
Leon!
It's good to see you're still among the living. It looks like we're not gonna find your brother here after all.
So with this realization, Claire only had a few options left, escaping the city with Leon and saving those in need during her journey inside the police department, which this would be an integral part of her story in the future games and story of this franchise, because during Claire's investigation, she would be acquainted with another long-standing protagonist in this franchise, Sherry Birkin, the young daughter of William Birkin, the man who created the infamous G-virus.
Wait. Let me go! Easy, easy there. I'm not a zombie. You're safe now. My name's Claire. What's yours?
Sherry.
Do you know where your parents are?
They both work at the Umbrella chemical plant, near the city limits.
The chemical plant? Then what are you doing here?
My mom called and told me to go to the police station because it was too dangerous to stay at home.
From the look of things, I'd say she was probably right, but it's dangerous here as well. You'd better come with me.
But there's something out there. I don't know what it is, but I saw it. Much larger than any of those zombies. And it's coming after me.
What was that?
That's what I was telling you about. It's here.
Sherry, wait!
This interaction between the two would be a key element in RE2, with both having their fair share of interactions with the corrupt police chief Brian Irons, who in Claire's campaign would be fleshed out, revealing his true evil nature, while also fending off Sherry's father William as he tries to apprehend the young girl after his infection with the G virus, which is in due part to the instinct of procreating. And since Sherry has a close association genetically with the now infected William Birkin, the G monster's intention of creating a viable offspring would be achievable with Sherry. This of course would be an important role for Claire to save Sherry from her own father, but also saving her life after she was infected with the G virus from William. Also, if playing the original RE2, another plot point would be impacted, which would be the Tyrant Mr X's hunt for the G virus sample, which would be hidden in Sherry's locket, prompting this Tyrant to come after her. Though by the end of RE2, Sherry being infected with the G virus, monsters coming after them, Claire would still manage to survive and find a cure for Sherry, with the G virus vaccine created with the help of Sherry's mother, Annette Birkin, who Claire had several interactions with during Resident Evil 2. So overall, the important events that happen in RE2 is Claire's debut, her realization of Chris's last known location being at Europe to fight Umbrella, her interaction and revelation with Chief Irons, her role of saving Sherry Birkin, fighting all sorts of monsters and BOWs, and her last escape from Raccoon City with Leon, with the conclusion happening after daybreak, with the three protagonists making their way to safety, ending their adventure post the Raccoon City incident.
After that, Claire set out alone to find her brother, and Sherry and I were rescued by US government agents.
Or so we thought, because in a turn of events, if we looked at the original Resident Evil 3's epilogue, we find out that Claire would leave Sherry to Leon's care, and the details to this sudden split between them was very surprising to me, especially after the bond that Claire and Sherry had during RE2, with the epilogue reading, "Leave us alone." Claire Redfield couldn't believe Leon's words. Leon continued, "You're looking for your brother, right? Just go." Claire knew that Leon and Sherry needed immediate medical attention, but she could not waste any more time. I'll be back, I promise," she said as she disappeared into the wilderness alone. Though this information was due to her continued search for her brother Chris, with the information she gathered so far prompted her to go to Europe, specifically one of the European branches of the Umbrella Corporation, as she believed it would lead to her reunion with her brother, which would happen in Resident Evil Code Veronica, a couple of months post the Raccoon City incident, as we have Claire again as the main protagonist in this game. And the early part of this title will have her captured and sent to a remote Umbrella Corporation owned Rockford Island.
Don't move.
With the important events that Claire experiences during this game is her partnership with a fellow Rockford Island prisoner, Steve Burnside, who with some unfortunate events landed both him and his father locked up in this Umbrella Corporation prison.
Dad used to work for Umbrella. Tried to steal information, intending to sell it off to the highest bidder. He was caught. Mom was killed. We were sent here.
Oh, Steve.
He was a fool to do something so reckless. So stupid.
It's okay now. Just rest.
Also, the sudden revival and return of Albert Wesker, who was presumed dead after the events in Resident Evil 1.
I despise Chris.
What are you gonna do to him?
The battle against the insane Ashford twins, the new Veronica virus, a variant of the T-virus that we saw in RE2, and the reunion of Claire and Chris Redfield towards the end of the game. Though with all these events playing out, similar to Resident Evil 2, in Resident Evil Code Veronica, Claire's adventure would lead her to investigate Rockford Island, learning about the Ashford's family's lineage and influence within the Umbrella Corporation.
How dare you!
The Ashford family is among the world's first and finest. My grandfather is one of the original founders of Umbrella, Inc.
Her battle with the psychopath Alfred Ashford, who cross-dresses as his sister prior to her awakening. Her bond and loss of Steve Burnside, as we see him infected with the T-Veronica virus by Alexia Ashford.
You're warm.
Steve, you've got to hang in there, okay? My brother's come to save us. We're getting out of here.
Your brother kept his promise. I'm sorry, I cannot.
What? What are you saying?
I'm glad that I met you. I love you, Claire.
Steve? Steve? Steve?
Her reunion with Chris was made possible due to Leon's help of informing Chris that Claire has been captured by Umbrella.
Chris? Chris! I've been so worried.
You kidding me? I thought tough girls like you didn't get worried.
What happened? How did you get here?
Leon contacted me.
Leon? You know him?
Yeah, he tracked me down right after you went missing. Look, Claire, we can talk about this later, but we gotta get out of here first.
Wait, Steve. He's here somewhere. We can't leave without him. You're Alexia Ashford.
Oh, you know my name.
I thought you were dead.
No, I've just been hibernating for 15 years to become one with the Veronica virus.
Veronica virus?
I still have some experiments to perform. Would you care to play along? Your friend awaits you in the Coliseum. You don't want to be late.
Anyways, in the end, it was nice to see that the Redfield siblings finally reunited after all the ordeals from the Raccoon City incident and the craziness of the Ashfords in Code Veronica. Though Claire's adventure does not end here just yet, because her fight against bioterrorism would continue on. who like her brother would be a part of a non-government organization that helps combat the use of bioorganic weapons across the Resident Evil world, with this new organization being known as TerraSave, which Claire becomes a very important figure within this company, prompting her to be part of a storyline that spans several years forward, which include the incident in Resident Evil Degeneration, who like Leon would be again in the midst of another viral outbreak, which happens in Harvardville Airport. With Claire's important role in this movie was her involvement with TerraSave and her proximity to the individuals who had some shady dealings of bioterrorism, specifically a man named Dr. Frederick Downing, who is known to be a former Umbrella Corporation employee and was also involved in assisting with the creation of the G virus that we saw in RE2. Also in this movie, it was nice to see her reunion with Leon Kennedy and their progression after all these years, with Leon also stating a very good line that defines both their characters, with him taking more of an offensive role of fighting bioterrorism, while Claire took on more of a rescuer type of role, with both elements being a very important fact for this franchise. Anyways, though by the end of the movie, Leon and Claire again would part ways, but this would not be the end of Claire's adventure, because she would play in another major role, which spans the events of Resident Evil Revelations 2, placing Claire at the forefront of another Wesker-involved plot. Not the same Wesker that we saw from the past, but a new one. A second Wesker who had her own plots of a new viral strain, Claire's involvement with TerraSave, her leading role in Revelations 2, as we watch her again try to escape another bout against BOWs. Because with Resident Evil Revelations 2, we find Claire in the middle of a TerraSave company party, though quickly interrupted when she finds herself and many other TerraSave members kidnapped by an unknown organization, starting her journey in Revelations 2, which Claire now has to figure out how to escape, who caused this incident and what were their intentions, and now being partnered up with Moira Burton, the daughter of Barry Burton, the man who was a close friend of Claire and Chris for many years.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life.
Who prior to the events in Revelations 2 decided to be part of TerraSave due to Claire's role in the organization and her influence over the younger Burton. Though returning back to the start of Revelations 2, Claire at this point would take more of an offensive role due to Moira's traumatic past, as Claire finds out that Moira had accidentally shot a firearm on her own sister at their house when they were younger, prompting her fear of using any kinds of guns and the start of the rift between Moira and Barry, which at this point will be very important for this game's storyline and the overall outcome that Claire would have at the end, because during their adventure, Claire and Moira would find out that they are now part of an experiment on an isolated island, being used as a breeding ground for a new viral strain called the T-Phobos virus, a variant of the past viral strain that would cause those infected to mutate if high enough levels of fear were to be achieved by those unfortunate enough to be inoculated with it.
Pedro?
See how his bracelet changes to the color of fear.
Claire, I've got you!
It means he's not the one.
So Claire and Moira continue to search for answers in regards to this new virus, and in doing so uncover that the one behind all of this was Alex Wesker, a project sibling of Albert Wesker.
Wesker.
She's so scary. I can't stand her.
Who? The woman here with Wesker?
That is Wesker. Alex Wesker.
Two Weskers? You gotta be shitting me.
Who has kidnapped Claire and many other TerraSave members and placed them on same island, who Alex has full control over and left it in ruins due to her inhumane experiments. Also during their journey, Claire would interact with another character in this game by the name of Natalia Corda, who like her was also a victim of Alex Wesker and had a much more devious plan for the young girl. But while all of this was happening, another revelation occurs towards the later half of the game, because because a traitor inside TerraSave was revealed, which would be Neil Fisher, who was the one responsible for the attack at the TerraSave party at the start of the game. This of course would upset Claire and Moira, and to compound the effect of this new revelation, we find out that now Neil was infected with the Ouroboros strain, the same one that was so prevalent in Resident Evil 5.
Neil!
I did what I thought was right.
It wasn't.
Get away from me! There's no bringing the FBC back. I failed Lansdale. Ouroboros, it's not death. It's
Though this would be a typical boss battle that Claire would have to fight out, another role would play in that changes the storyline depending on how Moira makes her choice. Because remember earlier, Claire finds out that Moira's past trauma, causing her to forego the use of any kind of firearms. Well, if choosing to use a firearm, Claire would be saved by Moira, and allowing the two to have the proper ending that we see in Revelations 2, where in the end, Claire would be saved and notify Barry's of Moira's situation at same island, which in doing so allows Barry to save Natalia Corda, and finally defeat Alex Wesker with a good ending scenario to the game. Though with the final cutscene, it's revealed that everything was alright once again with Claire, and her brief mention of Chris during this timeline was a reference to the events in Resident Evil 6 and Chris's fight against BOWs in China. Also, since we are on the topic of Resident Evil 6, remember Sherry Birkin, the young girl Claire saved in Resident Evil 2? Well, now much older has become an integral part of this game and has revealed that she has gained some benefits from her previous inoculation from the G virus, and the vaccine that Claire used to save her has provided her with the said benefits. So Claire's role in saving Sherry was an integral plot point that happens in RE6, and I'm sure that Claire's adventure will continue on in the future, because we have the confirmation of a new Netflix series of Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, where she again will be paired up with a longtime friend Leon Kennedy as they fight many more zombies and monsters. Also, the retelling of the T-virus outbreak would happen again in the new movie called Welcome to Raccoon City, which apparently Claire Redfield would reprise a role and would be a key character during that film. Anyways, overall, Claire was a great character to follow for all these years in the Resident Evil saga, and I'm confident that we'll see her again and again in the future titles of this franchise. So overall, which version of Claire Redfield was your favorite and why? Please let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you guys enjoy the content, then please feel free to like and subscribe for more Resident Evil content in the future. Anyways, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you guys have a great rest of your day, and this is Hey DeVuH, and I'll see you guys on the next video.
Still have a job to do. Let's go.
Go? Oh, you can't mean.
Chris, I have to find you.